Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another alternative. No, not alternative features of the world. I'm stupid. What if civilization started over? So, we currently have this going on. We have the red team up here controlling a bit of the Mediterranean, and basically all of Greece. I mean, I know they have like up to here-ish. They control a little bit of Turkey. They control a lot of Egypt and a bit of Sudan. They also control all of Israel and Palestine, a bit of Jordan, and a bit of Saudi Arabia, I believe. Yeah, a bit of Saudi Arabia. They also control the northern parts of Serbia and all of that stuff. So, a quick recap for you. Obviously, I just talked about the red team. They also control all of Cyprus right here. That. But yeah, so far we've had the red team starting down here and going in both directions. Then a civil war broke out. This part of the red team won. So when the red team was throughout all of this part, they were more supporting this part down here than the northern part. So the northern part revolted, won the war, and then they started moving further north, even removing all this old territory so they could expand more north without like completely collapsing. Then some of these guys moved down here and formed their own country, the blue team. And I almost forgot to make this explored because they're right here. They've officially explored all of that part. And yeah, the green team, which is this one right here, they were like unnoticed at first with them breaking off from the blue team and the red team. A few people from each civilization going to the green team instead of the other ones. Yeah, and they had more of an expansionist type ideal. And eventually, since they weren't given enough support to the northern half broke away and started threatening a war. But the green team let them go peacefully, and they also started making navies. The global powers are red team first, blue team second, green team third, purple team fourth, yellow team fifth. And yeah. The purple team was from the red team. They were an expedition crew that were sent out, but they got lost and kind of didn't know their way back, so they started a new country. And in today's episode, we see the red team exploring more of this area, trying to get over to where they sent their scouts before, because they think they're dead, so they still want to explore all this. So they're exploring, and they're technically exploring all of this too because they don't know what's over here. They eventually reach the coast and start traveling along the coast, and then they meet up with the purple team, and they're like, "Whoa, we thought you scouts were dead. You're still alive?" And they're like, "Yeah. Here, we'll even expand more so we can get more around this. But we just got lost. Wait, where did you come from? We don't know how to get back." And they're like, "Alright, we'll take you back if you want to go." But most of them are like, "No, we want to stay now. We've made sort of a civilization over here as well." And so most of them decide to stay. Some of them do go back, making the red team have a little bit of a population boom as a lot of the actual scouts, they sent like 25% of their population because they over here because they wanted to explore and gain more land over here. But now that they know that the people didn't die and they were just lost, But I know that it's also not that dangerous over here. So the red team, purple team, and green team all make a combined effort to try to explore the rest of Arabia. And they do make quite a good amount of progress, even making it so there's only a little bit left that's just kind of desert. And they're like, all right, it's probably just desert all the way around. And they send like one scout group that like completely takes over like all of that area. But yeah. And we now have some people from the red team secretly going up and trying to find land up here that's not so hot, because they kind of don't want to be part of the farming. They want to find more things so they can be more separated from the red team, because they don't really like the red team. So they find the boot of Italy, which they think is just kind of like land. So they keep going along, but eventually they do explore downwards, and they find out that it's actually a peninsula. As it gets shorter, they also find Sicily. They find this Italian island and Corsica and whatever this one is. Maybe, actually, I think that one's Corsica. I don't know what this one is, but this is probably Corsica. And yeah, they decided to actually settle down up here as well. So we now have the formation of the light blue country, which completely claims the entire Italian peninsula, Sicily, these two islands over here. And yeah, they claim all of this land that they just explored, and start moving. A lot of people from the Red Empire actually decide to come over to the light blue empire. Yeah, I'm gonna start calling them empires, because that's basically what they're. Because they hear that it's much nicer there. It's been autocracies and dictatorships, and this is the first monarchy. And they're really in support of kings and queens, because they want to have a little bit of a say. It's a non-constitutional monarchy, but it's still, in their eyes, better than an autocracy. I don't know why. And a dictatorship, which the red team is a dictatorship. The blue team is autocracy. Green team, autocracy. Yellow team, dictatorship. And purple team, dictatorship, because it's literally the same as the red team. But yeah, we see the formation of the light blue team. And there isn't that many wars right now, because there's a lot of open lands. People are like, we don't feel the need to go after other countries if we can just expand into this empty land that's free for the taking. So the red team starts to even expand further. Oh, that's not what I want. Further into this part of the sea, claiming naval superiority over the yellow team, and even saying, if you don't give us your the waters next to your thing, we will go to war with you and take it by force. And the yellow team's like, we don't want you to take this. We'll give you a little bit, but we do want to keep some of our boats so we can still have a navy. And the red team's like, all right, I guess it's fine. But yeah, they will start now that they know that their expedition crew is still alive. They will start expanding, moving their people over so they can have a little bit of a trade route going through. And yeah, they start moving along, going slower and slower, until eventually things start picking up the pace as they meet up with the green team, which now has finally moved some of their population over and put a lot of it into the other thing. They've also put a lot more money into their navy, fully expanding all the way out here. And nope. And expanding further into the Horn of Africa, completely taking the Horn, and starting to move down, making more of a land border with the blue team, as the blue team's like, before you go, we need more of this land as well. So they start taking it, as the green team and the blue team basically fight over who's getting this land first, trying to speedrun getting it. And that is the border that becomes of it. The green team will buy that land. They didn't take it by force. They will buy that land from the blue team as the blue team starts expanding all this way. And eventually they do settle population around this lake over here. And the blue team seems to be the most technologically advanced country, as they have rapid expansion. But a lot of this isn't even the government's doing. It's just the people wanting more land. And half of this land doesn't even have people living in it. Like, this, all of this, no people. All of this, no people. Like, all of this stuff right here has no one in it. Most of this has no one in it. It's really, all of their population is centered right there. And this is all just claims. So if the green team really wanted, they could invade because they are probably more navally powerful. But they just don't want to invade into things. This border is really, it's really making me mad. So I'm just gonna do that. Much better. So is this one. So, red team. This isn't wars, by the way. This is just me being mad about borders. You get that. Yellow team gets that. Like that. And same thing over here, but this border's a little bit better. And that one's just absolute chaos. I love it. But yeah, the purple team hearing this as they get messengers from the red team to start expanding so they can meet up with a land border. The purple team will do as the red team says because they do want to have more of a ability to trade. And they do eventually meet up with the red team. And they start making more of a land border, moving a lot of their people to the land border, and a lot of this is desert, not devert. A lot of this is desert, but it's just, they move a lot of people to this part up here, what's not desert. This is mainly desert, so they don't really move a lot of people here. But the green team will also expand a lot and move some people over here as well, even laying claim to most of this before the purple team takes the rest of it. I'm never gonna do black borders again because they suck. This is so much better because I don't have to do border changes that make me edit out the entire video basically. But yeah, the purple team will also start expanding further out here. Now that they have actual connected trade, they are advancing very rapidly. They even get down into the Indian Peninsula, expanding a lot more and trying to basically just rapidly move all of their people. But they will also send out a lot of exploration groups. Some even explore all the way. Some exploration groups are even so successful that they explore all of the Indian Peninsula, the Indian continental plate, basically. They also explore further out, even almost making it to the, with the help of the red team, by the way, just saying. They almost make it to this sea. I forgot what it was called. But yeah, the red team will also put a lot of their people into exploring. They even find the entrance. Whoa. Dang it. Now I gotta restart that part. They even find the entrance to this thing, and they see Iberia over there. And they figure out that this continent does not go on forever. They thought it went on forever, all the way over here, and even further, maybe even connecting up over here. But now they know that it is ocean and it does curve down. Either that or it just curves and then it goes straight again. But they think it goes down. They send another exploration group and their suspicions are correct. But they do not dare to go into this because Sahara Desert, not that fun. But they also make a lot of settlements and make a huge push to try to get a lot. I did not mean to make it that big. They make a huge push to try to get all their settlers over here. And they even push into the desert a little bit. But they don't really settle that much of it there. And then this country also decides to start colonizing in Africa. Taking all of this. Gosh, darn it. Taking all of this. Jeez. And even making it to the entrance of the Mediterranean. These guys now control the Mediterranean Sea as they make it over and they settle a colony in Iberia. Now, colonizing here, you may think it's going, whoa, this is going way too fast. You might be thinking that. But most of this land, like, most of the population is like, whoops. The population density map, it's like, this is the population density map. The rest of these are just claims. They have like almost no one living here. Maybe like 4 or 5 people. But you also gotta know that this is like, at this point, I skipped over this part in the first episode, but it took them like 100, maybe even like 200 years to go from a few population to a few hundred, which then they expanded and they had more room to get more population, and now the world's population is about 100. Not 100. I almost said 100,000. It's probably like around 5,000. So the wars that would be happening would be like a few hundred people all like stabbing each other. But yeah. And almost like all of the purple teams things. Oh, sorry, 5,000 per country. Well, this country only has like 4,000, or sorry, 3,000. Green team only has like 4,000. Blue team only has like 2,500, but they still are good in economy and military-wise. Purple team has like 1,500 since they were just an expedition group and then grew a little bit. This was a huge movement. They have like 5,000 people, and then this place has like 8,000 because it's the original civilization. So they kind of got to have a lot of people, or else it'd kind of just be like overrun. Speaking of overrun, we see another riot break out. And this riot is the northern Turkish and Greek have. Even Cyprus joins this rebellion, not riot. Why did I call it a riot? But yeah, they also claim all of these naval stuff, because most of the navy over here was just their navy. I'm just gonna change this to that. Bam. And yeah. So that happened, and they start to invade into the red team. And it goes decently well at first, because they have support of most of the most of the red people. So it goes surprisingly well. But then they reach the more populated area, This only had like 1,000 people in it, And then this had like 5,000. Then this whole area over here had like 1,000 people. But like this main area over here had like 5,000. So they finally reached the more populated areas. And this is when, boom, naval landing takes over that. And they start pushing back. I just had to make sure you guys knew that was already taken over. Naval landing takes that. Naval landing takes that. Starts pushing in. And a lot of people seem to like naval battles. So Navy starts crushing this. The red team's Navy was extremely well. So they start completely like obliterating. And they completely wipe out the Navy. And they start pushing into the Greek and Turkish areas, completely taking over the Greek. And then the Turkish thing is like, all right, we surrender. Just let us have our independence at least. And the red team's like, nope. But you do surrender, so we will take this. And then we will... Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah. We will let you have a little bit of land up here. But this is all you're getting. So they start doing that. And then they also make another navy. Laying naval claim to all this before the red team's like, nope. Ours. You don't get navy. And, yeah. We can see tensions rising as the red team fills this whole, the full Black Sea, in with their navy. Why are you like this? Boop, boop. Sometimes, I had to do the border after because the map that I downloaded did not have a border on it. Like an outside border. It had no borders, but also no outside border. So I had to make that. But yeah. So this team's pretty pissed right now because they wanted independence, so they wanted to keep their homes and their people. But they weren't allowed. So they make a campaign to try to explore more, which they do successfully, and they find out that this is just a sea and there's nothing else. They put the red team puts most of their navy over here, and they just lay claim to the rest of whatever this is. They think it might be an ocean, but they find out that it's a sea, and they're like, all right, perfect time, because we haven't told anyone, so this is a perfect time to try to expand. And the red team's navy sees this rapid expansion and is like, are they trying to expand in the water? Here, let's see this. And they go along the Strait of Istanbul, taking all of this part of Turkey, going all the way up, and they realize that it's also a sea. And they meet up with this, taking this by force, not realizing that it was laid claim to by the rebels that just took that. So the rebels were like, hey man, that was ours. What was that for? And then they lay claim back to the Crimea area. And the red team's like, whoa. Hey, that was our land. We had that. And these guys are like, yeah, but you just took it from us. It's ours again. And the red team's just like, all right, we just were in a war, so we're just going to let you have it. It's not that much land compared to us. But they do start expanding down here to try to surround these guys so they can't have any more rapid expansion. Bit of a hypocrite, being as they're now in a rapid expansion phase, going all the way around, which also invokes a lot more people, like the purple team. to start their rapid expansion. They still had exploration groups over here because they had just met up with this. So they start pushing into unknown territory even, going along the border of the red team, but saying that they could have the land if they wanted, but they would have to still go into the land to claim it. But they just wanted to have more of a border so we could have better trade, because these two have probably the friendliest relations in the world right now. So the red team does put a lot of their population saying we do want more of this land. We're gonna take a little bit of it, and they're like, all right, that's fine. And the red team's reasoning for this was, we want to get further. They even find a little bit of land over here, which they just might put their navy into. But they also leave half of it for the purple's navy to go into. And the purple's team's like, thank you, and takes all of that, putting their navy into it. But really, they don't need to. This is just for if any countries eventually form anywhere else. Wink, wink. But yeah. But these countries are like, all right, we've expanded way too much. Our country is becoming really unstable. Oh, final last words. And a group of rebels start popping up in the purple team, boycotting the dictatorship government, and a lot of these form even in the capital itself, which is right there. And the capital's taken, causing this to be taken, and that's not what I want. And they start just absolutely pushing through. These rebels connect over, these rebels connect over, these rebels connect over, and the purple team basically just falls apart from within and eventually surrenders. And the red team's like, huh? So we see the first constitutional monarchy form. Because they're like, all right, we're done with your dictatorship expansionism. We want a specific group of people to decide all of our stuff. So we have our first constitutional monarchy, and we have our first monarchy. And people from here are like, what's a constitutional monarchy? Because they just heard about it, but their king is like, nope, gonna block that out right now so people don't start revolting against us. And yeah, that happens, and people are like, must just be a lie. There's no such thing as a constitution. And that's what people say. So they start expanding outwards, and yeah, all that happens. The red team's like, we'll supply aid to you if you stop expanding. We'll supply aid to you if you stop expanding. And the yellow team's is like, all right, we need to start trade because our economy kind of sucks right now. And the red team's like, all right. And they send aid to the yellow team. They also send a lot of exploration. That I did not even move my mouse close to that. They also start expanding the known territories out further, even going all the way around the sea that they had just claimed to, and meeting up with the constitutional monarchy purple team, which these ties that I was talking about just before, severed. These ties, severed. There's no more good relations with them. They are now enemies. Because the people don't like dictatorships, and the red team, as I said, is a dictatorship. And, yeah. The blue team will also do some exploration, and the technical first age of exploration has started, as people start going up into Europe to even African countries are sending people up into Europe as they think it's beneficial to try to explore all of this land. They see across the English Channel, and eventually they're stopped because it gets really cold for them, because they're basically all African countries. They all originated from down there, so this is over the span of, like, at this point, like 1,000 years has passed. About, so there was a huge population boom. Sorry, I think I need to be a bit more clear. They stopped exploring Europe and started exploring Africa. The desert was a bit explored. They found another lake in Africa, and they kept going down further. Eventually, they reached all the way down, going along the coast so they didn't starve to death or just die from the heat. And they find that Africa does have an end. And, so they start exploring further up. They eventually go out to try to see how big the world is, and they eventually find this island over here. But they only find this much, and they're like, alright, we found another island, guys. So they send a whole exploration team, because this was only like 50 people that went over here, but now they sent like a whole 100, and they fully explored Madagascar. And they now are like, alright, so we keep finding more and more cool stuff, so let's start exploring a little bit more. They fully discover all of southern Africa and start moving further up, eventually reaching up to the Sahara Desert part. And they do go around the Sahara Desert a little bit and eventually meet up with the Red Team exploration crew. And yeah, now we just have the Sahara Desert. But yeah. So that was the end of the first age of exploration. And then nothing happened for like 1,000 years. People were really relatively happy with where their countries were at. And then all of a sudden, someone may have destroyed a cargo ship, which at that point is just a like big like wooden pirate ship full of supplies. It's not like the cargo ships that we know today, because this is still like really not that advanced stuff. But the teams whose cargo ship was destroyed was the Red Team, after making a trade with the Green Team. So they had sent a cargo ship from up here in like the Egyptian area all the way down the coast, going like this. Didn't even put anything like that. But yeah, eventually going into Green Team waters, where they met up with the Green Team's capital, traded a lot, and then went all the way back to here, where a certain team's military base may have thought that they were a bombing ship, which at this point just means a military ship, meaning they had a lot of pirates or stuff on them, and we're gonna try to go towards them, as they were going kind of like this to try to hug the coast, and they thought that they were just coming for the island. So they may have blown it up. By that, I mean they kind of sent out their own ship as it was really close, boarded it, took it over, and then took all the supplies and sank it. That's what it means by when I say blow it up. And the Red Team's like, whoa, what was that all about, Yellow Team? And the Yellow Team's like, we don't know what you're talking about. And the Red Team's like, alright, you want to play like this? We're going to war with you. And they start invading into the Yellow Team. Now, they were expecting something like this where the yellow team would eventually declare war on them. So they had a lot of military bases down here because they're one of the few countries they border. Just kidding. They border like almost every country. They only don't border two, which is this team. Actually, no. They border every country except for the blue team. Border, 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 border. Just no border for the blue team. So they had a military base here for the yellow team. And the yellow team's military is not that strong. So they're getting kind of swept over. Their entire navy is completely wiped out. This island, guess what it does? It's sank to the ocean. That's what it does. The red team's so mad about it that they took the thing and they just started absolutely shoveling it away, taking all the supplies that were on the island and then just kind of making it so it didn't exist anymore. They made it it didn't really like sink into the ocean. They just like burned it to the ground and then no one lives there anymore and no one will ever live there anymore because they burnt all the trees to the ground, burnt all the crops to the ground, and made sure that there were no seeds left to be there, filled it with ash and garbage, and yeah, the yellow team may or may not have been screwed and is fully taken over by the government. And the peace treaty is full annexation because they're like, this is what you get for destroying our thing. It was mine, not yours. So the red team will also do a little bit of expanding. And their population numbers just boomed from taking all of the population of the yellow team. And they're like, whoo, we have a lot of people. So, yeah, even after that, like, thing of peace, the red team's like, whew, wait, war gave us so much more stuff. Maybe we should start going to war instead of going to different countries. So, this country that has about 10,000 population now. Oh, right, yeah, population numbers. 50. Okay. For the red team. $15. Actually, let's just go 25,000. 25,000 for this. No. 20,000 for this. 15,000 for this. And 35,000 for that. So, the yellow team had about 10,000 population. This team had 40,000, or like 45,000. They killed 5,000 because half of their population was enlisted in the military because they thought that an invasion would come. But over half of this, they had 45,000 and 30,000 were enlisted in the military because they're a dictatorship and they want better military. So that happened, and now their population is up 5,000 more. And they declare war on this country next, which this country's like, whoa, you were giving me aid just like a few years ago. What's going on? And they're like, remember that whole thing about Crimea? Yeah. We want it back, and we want more this time. So the people start fleeing and going over, and they eventually meet up with land border with this. And all the people down here by the coast flee. And then the red team eventually stops them and takes all of their population. The population is now in the red team, and the red team does not let any of their population leave anymore because most of it was thinking about some of it was thinking about overthrowing the government, and some of it was thinking about just leaving to a different country. And the red team is like, nope, not happening. So the red team will expand its navy, putting more money into it, more gold, because they now have an actual form of currency, which is minted coins. They have made coins their currency, gold coins their currency, copper coins, silver coins, gold coins, all of that. And the blue team's like, whoa, we didn't invest anything into our military, but we still have some. Which I completely, and that's the only reason they have some is because I keep completely forgetting that they exist. So yeah, this is their is there a thing? Interesting. And they start putting a lot of money into their military. And Navy, and they start taking the rest of the Mediterranean, which they do successfully. They take the rest of the Mediterranean and they start pushing into this little form of water that they know is there. And yeah, they eventually make it so far from their home territory that the ships start being like, whoa, why are we still out here? And decide to just come back. So they lay claim to this, but they have no ships in it anymore. They did, but they stopped having them. But the red team sees this as kind of a threat, but they don't make a war. Instead, they sign a non-aggression pact with the light blue team, meaning that neither of them will attack each other. So that even if like an ally attacked, which there are no alliances right now, but if an ally attacked, yeah, they would not join them because non-aggression pact. And if they did join them, the entire world would frown upon them and probably sanction them and do all that. But yeah. But the red team did not do enough as the capital city of all places decides to break off and form a new country. And followed by that, there is also this country over here. Well, this new area over here that breaks off. This area right here that breaks off. And even the middle between them. And all of this breaks off. A new yellow country forms right here, and the rest of this part joins this new thing, and over a little bit of a course of like a week, the red team has basically collapsed as they didn't even go to war. It's just more and more territories keep breaking off and joining this new republic. Some even break off and join and do their own stuff. This country breaks off, does its own stuff. This happens as well. This breaks off, forms its own country. This one becomes a thing. No, that's too similar to another one. How about this? Yep, this one. Wait. Yeah, that one. This one becomes a thing. And we now have a lot of countries here. And a lot of ones that are unstable as well. That's way too bright. Let's just go all the way then. There we go. This whole area over here, including Crimea, just basically this part right here, all breaks off, and the red team is solely right here. And they give peace. They sign peace with all this because they don't want to be going against a 45 front civil war. That's much better because now you can actually see the difference between this and that. And all the other countries in the world just wondered what happened. And what happened was the red team got too big and had too much population. The people started not liking it and decided to break off. That's basically what happened. And, yeah. So, I think they might have learned their lesson. All of their naval stuff has been taken away. They're no longer allowed to have a navy. They are officially sanctioned by almost all of these countries because they randomly went to war with a country that was their ally. That was one of the main, well, not their ally, but it was one of the main causes was that they went to war with an innocent country that didn't really do anything wrong. And yeah. So I just had to do this real quick because I gotta. This part was bugging me on how it was so similar to each other. So. And then get that fill. Sorry, now get that. Fill, and yeah. Much better, because now you can actually tell what's the difference. But they do take this, and they start moving their navy. The light blue country starts moving their navy into this. Well, kind of the teal. The old red country's like, how fast these things fall. They had an empire, they lost it. Specifically because they were a dictatorship. No one likes dictatorships. Except for if you're in a dictatorship, and that's the only thing you're allowed to like is dictatorships. Because then you like dictatorships. But yeah. I'm just going to do this so it's like more evenly done, so it doesn't look more blue, but it looks like this. That's what they claim. These dudes get that much navy. These guys get the best out of these three and get this much navy. And then you find these guys who get all of this. No, actually, they get like that much, and then these guys would get naval supremacy over as I was saying. These guys would get naval supremacy over all of this stuff. These guys wouldn't have enough economy to make a navy. These two are landlocked. This will know literally controls the Strait of Constantinople. Therefore, they get all of this. Whee! Whee! This country gets the rest. And yeah, they get all of that. And yeah. So we just saw the collapse of one of the greatest empires or the greatest empire that existed in this series so far, which it is only like 3 episodes long, but this is one of the long form videos. I'm just kidding. I'm probably gonna break this up into 2 videos. Um, no, I'm not gonna break this up into 2 videos. This is just gonna be a long form video, like a movie sort of thing for you to watch when you're bored. Um, yeah, what am I talking about? People don't like videos that are 50 minutes long. But yeah, I will see you all next time. JJ Ricochet, out.